I subconsciously used it to get what I want. And I also used it to get chicks, right? And I used it to influence people, right? What's going on today is day number 26 of filming myself every day for the next 30 days to build that consistency and discipline when it comes to communicating and articulating my thoughts in a compelling and concise manner and projecting them influentially to the masses, right? And today is another bright and early day, and got my coffee on hand to get me started. Now, I have two things to share with you today that I hope you realize and gain some profound clarity by the end of this video, right? And it's dawned on me that many men and possibly even women have this one particular trait that is often misunderstood and taken from a place of negativity as opposed to applied from a place of positivity, right? It's a trait that is misconstrued, oftentimes taken for granted, and many aren't aware of its power when utilized effectively, right? It's also a trait that's right in front of you, one that you probably experience every day, and you laugh when you realize what it is, right? All the online successful gurus say you need it. They say you should embrace it, but never explain the context behind it, right? Now, why is the context important, you ask? Because everyone has it, but not everyone uses it correctly, right? You see, I remember back when I was in Bahrain, I used to share an apartment with a bunch of people. I had my own space, a proper sized futon, a cupboard, a nice desk, and a window with a balcony to watch the traffic below go by, right? It was quaint and simple. And so there were times that I would go out and just so happened to bring home the occasional chick I'd met randomly, right? Now, not gonna state the obvious, but I'm sure I don't need to go into the details of what happens, right? And now, the reason I'm sharing this story is because of this particular trait, right? I subconsciously used it to get what I want. And I also used it to get chicks, right? And I used it to influence people, right? Now, what I'm talking about is the trait of greed and being selfish. You see, most people are greedy, selfish, and reserved in nature, right? Especially in today's day and age. It's almost uncommon to have someone give you something freely, right? It would probably make you think, oh, I wonder what this person wants in return. Or now I'll just wait and see if this person wants anything back because of this free item or free value that they gave. It's too good to be true, right? And in its essence, that thought is often true. So naturally you put your guard up, right? And it's because anything that is given freely is normally a red flag, right? It's almost like a surprise that you don't expect and comes with no explanation, right? Like receiving a gift when it isn't even your birthday or a special occasion, right? It's not natural. Now, how does this relate back to my story of bringing chicks home effortlessly, right? And that is because I built rapport, I displayed confidence, and when they responded with interest, only then did I give them a good time, right? Only then did I reward that behavior that I preferred and naturally influenced. Because you see, all that was a natural progression, right? A transaction. And because all it is that, right? It's a transaction. And I'm only selfish to a degree. Now, let me give you a real life example, right? Imagine going to Whole Foods or Walmart or wherever, right? You walk in, you get your cart, you go through the aisles picking up groceries that you need, you go to the counter, and then demand that you walk out without even paying for it, right? Normally, you probably get the cops called on you, right? And a better example, let's take something more relatable for the dudes, right? Imagine walking down the street. You see a random hot chick. You find her hell of attractive, right? You walk up to her and then you say, let's fuck, right? You probably get smacked at the very least, and maybe even hit with like a harassment case, right? Now, in these two scenarios, what components are missing? It's the transaction that leads to the progression, right? Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, here's two things that will put everything into perspective and help you use greed correctly, right? The first thing is to exercise altruism, aka being selfless and providing value without the need for anything in return. Excuse me. You give and you have zero expectations. You'll realize that there's power in that, right? Now, this doesn't mean that you give aimlessly or roll over for people to take advantage of you, right? That's where balance comes in. Now, this dovetails into my second point, which is to understand the law of reciprocity. When you have zero expectations from anyone and understand that you will be rewarded one way or the other in your life regardless, right? It could be an immediate reward or somewhere down the road, right? Either way, you have zero expectations, and that takes the stress out of you giving, right? To bring it back full circle, in the case of me bringing chicks home, I didn't expect anything. I didn't care if anything happened those nights, right? If I didn't smash, I'd still be alive and well. The sun still shines the next day, regardless if I'd gotten laid or not, right? I was altruistic in some sense, and I understood the law of reciprocity. But I also, and I have to reiterate this. I also wasn't a pushover, right? When you understand this and you learn when to be greedy, this is your power. I hope this all makes sense. Now let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch you tomorrow for day number 27.